So it's not just this simple. Let me very quickly go over the techniques and then we'll describe them in a little more detail. There is circling. Circling is done at about 3 to 4 circles per second, and you're not far from the skin, usually about ½ an inch away from the surface. There is what I call cross hatching, which is just going back and forth and switching directions from up and down to crossways. This has a different effect. There is what I call dipping, which is an in-out motion, approaching the skin, and we're going to within about ½ an inch of the skin. Okay. Then there's what I call circle dipping, which is 3 to 4 circles and then a dip. 3 to 4 circles and a dip. 3 to 4 circles and a dip. Then there is directional dipping, which is like this. It's almost like pushing the energy. Okay, directional dipping. So we're going in like this. Now these are all methods that have different effects on the particular situation that you're dealing with. Okay. So circling actually is very soothing and relaxing and is great for soreness and stiffness and a lot of the challenges that people will run into. Then there is the dipping technique. Now dipping actually goes very deep into the body and has a very stimulating effect. Actually, for people who wake up in the morning and they're just, not feeling great and their energy's low, if they just simply do this, they will actually wake themselves up. And it doesn't take very long. I know it seems rather strange. It's an odd motion, but they will actually feel much more alert and alive and get going with their day much quicker. So this is a very, very good technique for getting deep into the tissues. Let's face it, my hand is actually very thin, but my body is quite thick. And for me to go deep into the body, it's much more effective to actually use a dipping technique like this. Now there is also a mix of circles and dipping, and I call it circle dipping, strangely enough. And it's 3 or 4 circles and then a dip. 3 or 4 circles and a dip. And it doesn't have to be precise. Body doesn't need to be absolutely precise. So 3½ circles and a dip is very, very good for soothing and stimulating at the same time. The other method that is utilized is actually what I call directional dipping. And what that means is I'm actually kind of moving the energy. In this situation, I'm moving the energy away. I'm moving it away from my body and out to the end of my hand. If I'm doing this, I'm moving that energy toward my body. So I'm actually moving the energy up the hand. And this can be utilized when you actually need to move energy, when there's energy that's blocked. People might have swelling, they might have sometimes pain and congestion and that sort of thing. And it's a matter of simply sensing which way the energy needs to go and then going with the flow of the energy. The other method that I utilize extensively, I call it cross hatching, where I'm going back and forth. And I will change my directions. And I will go back and forth, and then I will change directions and go back and forth. Now this is extremely good for very, very stubborn blockages, which are things like people that have maybe a bone spur, or they have an extremely dense swelling of, say, the ankles or the wrist, or their arm might be swollen. And so we can actually use this method to actually help to relieve those types of congestions, as it actually kind of stirs things up. We always want to follow using the crosshatch method with some nice circles at the end to gently soothe and relax, so that once we're done with the wanding session, the person feels at ease.